Joining me now is Michael Chertoff. He was former Secretary of Homeland Security, of course, a position created after 9/11 to help prevent another attack on the homeland. Secretary, thanks for taking the time this morning.
Thank you, Jim.
First, I'd like your response to hearing from Secretary Mayorkas. Yes, it is true the U.S. maintains capabilities, but even the CIA director has testified that without boots on the ground and other presence there, we have less intel gathering. You got to do things from further away to respond to threats. So it's a loss, isn't it?
Well, I think it's a loss, but I think we should also remember that we've built a series of capabilities, including particularly electronic capabilities in the last 20 years, which give us some real visibility into what's going on. Now, there'll have to be some adjusting, but I suspect that in relatively short order, we'll at least be able to get to a level of collection of intelligence that gives us what we need to make sure we can stop threats.
Will Afghanistan again become a haven for terrorist groups? Listen, they're already there. Al-Qaeda folks were fighting alongside the Taliban as they took over the country. ISIS-K developing, thousands of extremists flooding into the country. But crucially, from your standpoint, will it become a base once again for plotting attacks on the U.S. abroad?
So I think there are two factors that play in here. One is that Taliban have to make a decision whether they want to embrace terrorist groups and run the risk of having retaliation or being cut off by other members of the international community. But beyond that, the terrorist groups are not all uniform. ISIS-K is actually fighting with the Taliban. And the Taliban may be a little surprised to discover that they've got an extremism problem that they have to deal with to protect themselves. So I think we have to see how it plays out in terms of how these various groups and factions wind up either aligning or becoming antagonistic to each other.
In terms of capabilities, do any of those groups, including what remains of Al-Qaeda there, have the capability to plot and carry out attacks on the U.S. homeland?
Well, they certainly have the ability to plot. We have built a significant number of defenses and barriers to international terrorists coming into the U.S. to carry out terrorist attacks or to certainly attacks at large scale. So over the last couple of decades, what the terrorists have done is they've moved to a virtual model where they use the internet to radicalize people in the U.S. or in other countries and try to inspire them to carry out attacks. Those tend to be smaller scale, but I certainly would expect that that's going to continue, in addition to the other emerging terrorist groups, including domestic terrorist groups.
You were the second, I believe, Secretary of Homeland Security, as I noted earlier, a position created directly in response to 9/11 to prevent this kind of thing from happening again. Tell us, as you look 20 years later, and particularly as the U.S. now leaves Afghanistan, all those years, all that money, all that time, that effort, those lives, those injuries, was it worth it?
Well, Jim, the bottom line is this: there was no other 9/11. What we did to protect this country at DHS and other places prevented another large-scale international terrorist attack in the U.S. In fact, in August 2006, there was a very serious plot in Britain by global jihadis to blow up 12 airliners on the way to the U.S. We stopped that. So, you know, whenever you're successful, there's always a counterfactual question, well, did we need to do it? Maybe we would have been lucky otherwise. But who would want to take the chance of losing another 3,000 people? So I think what we did worked, and I think we have to continue.
Yeah, that's why we still can't carry bottles on planes, right, because of that plot in 2006. Michael Chertoff, thanks so much for your service to this country, and we wish you the best as you mark the anniversary tomorrow.
Thank you, Jim, and God bless everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.